What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the Self-Image Alchemist. In this video, I want to pick up where we left off last time with a list of things that I've learned over the years for manifestation that work and things that don't work. So without further ado, we're just going to jump right into the list and continue it. The first thing I have on this list is assumptions or law of assumption. So does it work? Of course it works. Something that I learned personally when I first started this journey, but I didn't know it was a name for it. I didn't know it, it was a certain term for it. I had no idea. I was following Neville Goddard. I'm not sure if you heard of him. You should definitely look him up if you're into manifestation. I think a lot of people misunderstand how the law of assumption works, and they try to just walk around with it as an assumption, thinking that that's just gonna bring in the thing that they want into their life, when it doesn't exactly quite work like that. I've carried many assumptions, and a lot of them came true, and a lot of them just straight up just didn't happen. Like, it didn't matter what it was. It worked once I truly understood it. So I'll tell it to you this way. The law of assumption is like to me, I'm giving you my opinion. To me, it's more of I guess like a blanket term to cover a whole bunch of techniques, basically, that you can use. Because just holding an assumption, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not gonna do it. You can hold an assumption to the day you die. It's not gonna bring anything significant that you can desire into your life. Is it possible? Of course it's possible. I believe personally anything is possible. Is it probable? No, not even a little bit probable. It takes more than just holding an assumption to truly hold an assumption. As Neville Goddard likes to say, is to put on a garment and constantly wear that garment in front of everybody, wherever you go, when you eat, when you sleep, when you're working, when you're out walking, talking to people. It's like wearing that assumption 100% of the time. Most people can't do that. We do that with simple things that are already proven to us. And the things that are proven to us are things that we already have a deep belief in. For example, and I love to use the example because it's so like obviously in your face. For example, gravity or breathing air. You know what I mean? We know it's going to be outside. We know we're going to be able to breathe the air. We know we're not going to float off into space. So it's an assumption that we all comfortably wear in front of everyone 100% of the time. It's not a doubt in my mind. Now, I can carry another assumption. I give you a little bit another example of carrying an assumption. It's and this is true for me, is that I don't get rained on. I don't get rained on at like functions, family functions, cookouts, parties, you name it. Any outdoor activity that I'm a part of, that I plan or someone else plans for me, I just don't get rained on. And that's just an assumption that I started to carry. And the way this assumption came about was through affirmation, which again, what I meant by bringing in all these techniques to help that assumption. Because it takes more than just putting on your coat and thinking it's going to protect you. You gotta go through the motions. You gotta zip it up. You gotta, you know what I mean? It's layers to it. So yeah, that's one of my, and sure enough, I haven't got rained on at an event. I can tell you some wild stories of how the weather been working around me, but it just doesn't happen. I plan to go on a walk, the sun comes out, the clouds start to part. Like, it's something off a Disney movie. It's ridiculous. But it's true for me. I've only been around one other person who's actually been able to witness this and like real time, and they were like blown away. They was like, they could just call me a lucky SOB basically. But what they don't understand is that it's intentional. You know what I mean? It's intentional. It's one of my assumptions. So does the law of assumption work? Abso-freaking-lutely. I don't want to dive too much into the law of assumption in this video, but so I just leave it there, and I'm going to move on to the next thing on the list, which is I have environments. Took me a while to understand that, but yeah, environments. So, what do I mean by environments? Environments can definitely help you in bringing things that you want to manifest into your life, and it can also hinder you. Sometimes we don't get the things that we want to bring into our life because of the things that we surround ourselves with, because of the people that we surround ourselves with. And it's pretty much just as simple as that. Like, some people vibration will bring your vibration down. It just doesn't mix. It's like playing two radios with two different stations with two different genres of music playing at the same times. For the most part, it's not going to sound good. You know what I mean? It's the same when you mix vibrational energies with people. Sometimes it just doesn't mix, and it causes chaos, and it's this ugly sound, and that manifests into this disharmony, basically. And you can't be in harmony with one thing and in harmony with something that's complete opposite. It just doesn't work that way. It's a way to be balanced, of course, but your environment for sure will either aid or hinder the things that you want to bring into your life easily. You know, I had, for one, I'll give you a simple example. I wanted, a while back, I wanted to do like drop shipping when I was working at this job, right? So at this time, at this particular job, it was a weird spot in my life. So I was like check to check, right? I didn't have the money to have, because I didn't even have a laptop at the time. I was going through stuff on my car. Like it was just a mess, right? So I needed all these things to even before I can even start doing it. The environment that I was in this case, it was my job, right? I didn't have the time. I would have never gotten the time. And I know me well enough to know that I've never would have left this job under any other circumstances. And I know me also, and I never would have mustered up or saved up the money to get the laptop or to do all the things that I needed to do to start that business. Long story short, the second I walked away from the job, everything else literally just fell into my lap. The car, I had a car that got totaled. They ended up actually giving me a check. It was just enough, which was wild because it was, I used the car, but I kept it in great condition. But I mean, it was totaled, and they still end up giving me this check for the car that was appreciated, I guess, way more than what I originally thought the car was worth. And it was a nice, chunk of money on top of, and I didn't need that to get to get a new car. So this was extra money. And all this came about from me walking away from this job, because my car didn't get totaled until after I walked away. It was a horrible circumstance, but it all played in my favor when I got out of that environment. Initially, I looked at it as a negative, but I quickly turned it around. I was like, oh wow, this is a positive because it's giving me this opportunity that I would not have had I still been in that same environment. Environments can have you thinking differently, like this collective consciousness in someone's house, neighborhood, the entire community can have a profound effect on your thinking. Thoughts that you normally wouldn't have pop into your head because you're part of that collective consciousness. And this is everywhere around the universe, not just the world, everywhere. Like wherever you go, there's some sort of collective consciousness. And I don't mean just the planet itself. I mean down to the smallest groups of people, like people who go to a certain restaurant every day, people who go to a certain club, work at the same job, live in the same household, live in the same neighborhoods, people of a certain culture, people that live in the same country. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger, but environments do in fact play a huge part in your ability to attract the things that you want to attract in your life. Just use the example of the radio. I like that example better, actually. The frequencies, they just don't harmonize at all. So environments can, again, aid in your ability to attract the things you want, or it can hinder your ability to attract the things that you want. And you could think you be doing all the right things, and you are. More than likely, you probably are. It just might be your environment. Maybe you need to step away, try to get away from the environment you're in for a little while. Anything to break that up. So yeah, definitely environment. I can really go on more about that, but I'm not. Two more intentions. Intentions. Your intention. This is probably definitely one of the most, or one of the more important things with manifestation is your intention. Especially, almost not exclusively, but especially when it comes to imagination. All right, when it comes to imagination, especially when you imagine things for yourself or for others, it doesn't matter. Any visual cue that you may have set up for yourself, like a vision board or any kind of imaginal scene that you may have created that you play in your head over and over again. Daydreams. If you want them, and this is the key part, if you want them to actually manifest into reality, into your life, if you want to attract those things that you imagine, your intention with that is key. Because the universe doesn't care, if you're constantly thinking about, oh shit, I'm going to get fired, oh shit, I'm going to get fired, oh shit, I'm going to get fired, or I don't want to get fired, I don't want to get fired. It's the exact same thing. You know what I mean? Because the whole context of that scene, I don't want to get fired, or hope I don't get fired, the whole subject of that, the context of that, is someone being fired. Whether you want to get fired or not get fired, fired is the context. The universe is going to take that and run with it, basically. So you really have to have strong intentions for what you want, not what you don't want. It's definitely where you place your intention. So, and I think I want to make a video about intentions, actually, but to have your intention should be focused more on the things that you want to happen and not on the things that you don't want to happen. And that seems pretty basic and pretty, straightforward and simple, but a lot of people get tripped up with this. I even still get tripped up with this sometimes. Not often, but sometimes. It's just your intentions. If you have the right intentions when you imagine something, or when you're doing or trying to attract anything into your life, you're pretty much good to go with that in that aspect. You don't have to worry about the bad things happening if you're not intending for those to happen. You know what I mean? So intentions. Right? Definitely want to do another video on that, because I got more to say about that. It has no place in this video, I don't think. And last but not least, I want to talk about prayer. I wrote down here. Yeah, prayer. So, what is a prayer? I learned this, all right? Because I used to be very religious, especially coming up. It was something that I was always just curious about. I get not necessarily overzealous with things, but I do like to deep dive into everything before I make it a part of me, a part of my life, before I invest any time into it or any beliefs into it. So prayer, and I'm not that religious now, but I still do like to pray. But what I consider prayer is probably a little bit different than what most people consider prayer. So prayer to me is simply imagining, or you can even write out a prayer. So imagining or writing out or setting your intention to achieve something in a manner of thinking as if you already have it. For example, like a traditional prayer. It'd be like, oh, God, I want to ask that you make sure. I do something super simple, like, God, I want to make sure that if you can help me to get to work on time, or if you can make sure that I lose this weight before this wedding, or something like that, and like something, just any kind of like simple prayer. The way I would handle that is I wouldn't obviously say that. I would do something like just imagining myself being at whatever weight before the wedding, or what's the other example I use? All right, we just go with that one. So if it was about losing weight or whatever, I wouldn't pray necessarily for that and ask God for that. I would simply imagine myself at that weight before the wedding, and I would simply be grateful for it. And that's the other part of prayer that I think is pretty huge. It's your intention of what you want, and it's intention of what you want in combination with a gratitude for having it. So intentions and gratitude pretty much make up my prayers, you know what I mean? And I would just imagine something that I want to come in, and I would give thanks for it. It's just that simple. Like, to me, that is a prayer. Like, I don't sit there and ask and say, oh man, please let this happen. I mean, sometimes I do that, but it doesn't have any, to me, it doesn't have any real weight to it. And it's almost pointless. At that point, when you say please, you're literally giving your power away when you say please. It's okay to be polite. I'm very polite. I'm probably overly polite. But when you're trying to bring something into your life, there's no one you need to ask for that. It's already yours. You just need to assume. You need to assume ownership of it. You know what I mean? Assume that you have it. It's that simple. Like, you're not asking anyone. You're not asking. At least I don't believe. This is my beliefs. I don't believe you have to ask anyone for it. All right, for anything. All right, when it comes to bringing, attracting stuff into your life, anything significant, of course. I just don't believe in it, and I feel like in doing so, you put yourself in a weaker position to attract it, because now you're not only acknowledging that you don't have it, and there's nothing wrong with that either, but you're kind of pushing it away from you. Like, oh, can some other power bring this to me? When that's really not the case. It's really not the case. You are that power. You're part of a power. You come from that power. Now, the difference is I show a lot of gratitude when it comes to prayer. And that's the one thing that religion does talk about a lot. I used to be a Christian, so Christian religion just talk about is gratitude, and that it is a big part of prayer and about the religion itself, anyways. In most religions, actually, gratitude is somewhat of a big part. Even with manifestation, like gratitude is powerful. I may have to put that on the next list, but yeah. So a prayer, definitely your intentions on what you want, with a lot of gratitude for already like having it or knowing that it's done and that it's unfolding for you. Not coming, but it's a done deal and you don't have to think about it. You know what I mean? That's what prayer. Prayer is acknowledgement of basically your power. It's the acknowledgement of it. It's you taking a second, but let me give thanks for this thing working out for me because I know it's going to work out for me. Let me pause and show a little bit of gratitude for this thing I know I got coming in, despite the circumstances that's going on around me. That's just my viewpoint on what prayer is, and not looking at the things going around me and being at those things, being at the mercy of all of those things, and then having to ask someone, please. You see how that's coming from a position of lack, of no power? That's not empowering at all. It's like you're at the mercy of practically everything, when that's not the case. That is not the case. Does the things around you have an effect on you? Of course. We talked about that with environment. I like this list. All these things tend to go together pretty well, actually. But yeah, so I'm gonna leave it here. yeah, I'm going to leave it here with these videos. So yeah, these things definitely do work. All four of these things, law of assumption, environments, prayer, intentions, it's all about your way of thinking about those things and the way you approach them is what's going to make them work in a much more effective and efficient way versus them really just being a hindrance for you or just failing completely at it. And I've been there too, but I had to learn, and I've done it on purpose to learn so I can share it with you guys. So these things definitely do work, and yeah, I'm going to leave it here. So if this list helped you in any way, open your eyes, gave you clarity, please like, subscribe, and until next time.